When you're dating a woman, there are certain things she can say that you should never ignore. It doesn't matter how much you like her, how long you've been together, or how scared you are of being alone. If these phrases come out of her mouth, you need to grab your shoes, your pride and your sanity, and walk away. Because the truth is simple. Words reveal what's really going on in her mind. And once you hear these words, you can no longer pretend not to know. Now let me be clear. I'm not talking about harmless jokes, playful teasing, or the small disagreements that every couple has. All relationships come with misunderstandings, frustration, and even the occasional fight. That's normal. But what I am talking about are words that cut deep, statements that show you exactly how she truly sees you as a man. Most men miss these red flags because they're blinded by attraction, infatuation, or even fear of losing her. They convince themselves she didn't mean it, or that it was said in the heat of the moment. But here's the cold reality. Women rarely say these things by accident. When a woman speaks, she's revealing her mindset. Her words are a window into how much she respects you, how much she values you, and the role she actually believes you play in her life. And men, let me tell you this as plainly as possible. Without respect, there is no healthy relationship. You can have passion, you can have chemistry, you can even have love, but if she doesn't respect you, every one of those things will eventually collapse. Here's the thing about female psychology. It's fascinating, but it's also incredibly complex. Women are masters of subtle communication. They can deliver a cutting remark with a soft tone, a laugh, or even a sweet smile. On the surface, it may sound harmless, almost like a joke, but underneath it's a bullet aimed at your confidence, your masculinity, and your worth as a man. And here's the dangerous part. When you let it slide, when you tell yourself it's not a big deal, you're actually training her. You're teaching her that disrespect is acceptable, that she can cross your boundaries without consequences, and that you'll keep tolerating it no matter how deep the cuts go. And this is how men lose themselves in relationships. It's not one dramatic event that breaks them, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Not in one big explosion, but in 100 small moments where they chose silence over self-respect. You've probably seen men like this. They stop standing up for themselves, they stop setting boundaries, and they slowly transform into a version of themselves that they barely recognize. And all because they ignored the signs that were right in front of them. So in this video, we're going to break down the 5 specific phrases you must never ignore. These are not harmless words, these are alarm bells. They are red flags that tell you exactly how she views you and exactly how this relationship is going to end if you stay blind to them. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what to listen for, why these words are so toxic, and how recognizing them early can save you years of wasted time, heartbreak, and emotional destruction. Let's get into it. 1. You're too sensitive. The disrespect. Disguised as a joke at first, this one might sound innocent, maybe even playful. But don't be fooled. When a woman tells you you're too sensitive, it's rarely about you overreacting. It's about her dodging responsibility and dismissing your feelings. See, in a healthy relationship, both partners should be able to express what bothers them. That's called respect. But when her response to your concerns is to laugh it off, roll her eyes, or accuse you of being too emotional, she's not trying to understand you, she's shutting you down. This is dangerous because over time, you start questioning yourself. You begin to wonder, am I overreacting? Maybe I shouldn't bring things up anymore. And little by little, you silence your own voice in the relationship. That's how respect dies, not in one huge argument, but in these repeated moments where your boundaries get brushed aside. Let's use an example. Imagine you've been waiting for her at a restaurant for 40 minutes. She shows up late without calling or texting. You calmly say, "I don't like being kept waiting like that." Instead of apologizing, she smirks and says, "Wow, you're too sensitive." It's not a big deal. That's not just a throwaway comment. It's a deliberate shift of blame. She was disrespectful, but now you're the one being framed as weak. And if you let it slide, you're sending a message. My time, my boundaries, and my feelings don't matter. Men, remember this. A woman who truly respects you will never mock you for expressing yourself. She may disagree, but she'll still listen because she values you. A woman who calls you too sensitive is showing you that she doesn't take your boundaries seriously. And if you ignore it, you're on the road to losing both her respect and your own. 2. You should be more like the comparison that kills attraction. This one is lethal. When a woman says, you should be more like, and then compares you to her ex, a male friend, or even some celebrity, you need to understand what's really happening. She's telling you straight up that in her eyes, you're not enough. Now at first, it may sound like harmless advice. Maybe she says, you should be more like James from my office. He's always so fit and full of energy. But underneath that, she's really saying, another man is doing something better than you, and I wish you were more like him. That's not encouragement. That's disrespect dressed up as advice. Here's why it's so toxic. Comparisons plant seeds of insecurity. Women know this. Sometimes they do it unconsciously. Other times they do it intentionally to make you chase harder for their approval. Either way, it's corrosive, because the moment you start trying to live up to that imaginary standard, whether it's her ex, her co-worker, or some fantasy man, you stop being yourself. And when you stop being authentic, you also stop being attractive. Think about it. The very qualities that made her like you in the beginning vanish the second you start molding yourself into what you think she wants. That's how men lose their edge. And once you lose that, you've already lost her respect. A woman who values you will never put other men on a pedestal above you. She'll encourage your growth, yes, but she'll do it without tearing you down. The moment she starts with, you should be more like, don't see it as motivation. See it as a warning. Because every time you accept that comparison, your self-worth gets chipped away until there's nothing left. 3. I don't need you. The disguised power. Play independence is a good thing. We all want partners who are capable of standing on their own 2 feet. But when a woman looks you in the eye and says, I don't need you, that's not independence. It's a power play. On the surface, it sounds like strength. I can take care of myself. And sure, that's fine. But in the context of a relationship, the real message is darker. You're replaceable. You don't add essential value to my life. Now think about how destructive that is. You invest in her. You show up when she needs you. You give your time, your energy, and your support. And then she throws this line out like none of it matters. That doesn't just hurt. It shifts the entire balance of the relationship. She starts acting as if she's above you, like you're just an option instead of a priority. And over time, you'll feel it in her actions. She'll stop appreciating the little things you do. She'll make decisions without even considering your input. She'll carry herself like losing you wouldn't affect her at all. That's not independence. That's emotional detachment. True independence says, I can thrive on my own, but I value what you bring into my life. Detachment says, I can replace you anytime. And here's the kicker. When she starts pushing this narrative, your motivation to invest in the relationship shrinks, because no man wants to keep pouring his energy into someone who acts like she doesn't need him. Men, you can feel it. You know when a woman truly values you. And you know when she's making it clear that she doesn't. So when she says, I don't need you, don't ignore it. Don't excuse it as strength. It's not strength. It's a warning that the emotional connection is breaking down. And if you stay, you'll end up present in her life, but completely invisible. 4. If you loved me, you would. The manipulation trap, this one is deadly because it sounds so innocent. At first, if you loved me, you would, sounds like a simple request. But don't be fooled. It's one of the most manipulative tools in relationships. Here's why. She's not just asking you for something. She's weaponizing your emotions to get what she wants. She's cornering you into a trap. Either you give in or you risk being painted as unloving, uncaring, or even heartless. That's not communication. That's emotional blackmail. And here's where too many men fall into the trap. They think, well, I don't want her to doubt my love, so I'll just do it. And before they know it, they're bending their values, spending money they don't have, or doing things they're uncomfortable with just to prove their love. But here's the problem. The more you give in, the more it becomes her go-to strategy. She learns that all she has to do is question your love and you'll bend over backwards. That's not love, that's control. Real love is never measured by how much you can be manipulated. Real love is about respect, choice, and mutual effort. It's about the actions you choose to take, not the ones you're pressured into. So men, the next time you hear, if you loved me, you would stop and ask yourself one simple question. Is this love, or is this manipulation in disguise? That answer will tell you everything you need to know. And if it's manipulation, the solution is simple. Walk away. Because the moment you let someone weaponize your feelings against you, you stop being a partner, you become a puppet. 5. You're lucky to have me. The subtle threat to your value. This one might sound flirty or playful on the surface. You're lucky to have me, but underneath it's poison. The message she's really sending is, I'm the prize. You're the one reaching up, and I'm the one reaching down. When this mindset takes root, the entire relationship dynamic shifts. Suddenly she's no longer showing up as your equal. She's acting like she's doing you a favor by staying with you. And you start working harder and harder to deserve her. That's the trap. Instead of mutual appreciation, the relationship turns into pedestal worship. You're chasing validation, trying to prove your worth, while she sits back and enjoys the chase. But let's be clear, healthy relationships aren't about who's luckier to have who. They're about mutual respect, shared effort, and the recognition that both partners bring value to the table. When a woman constantly reminds you that you're lucky to have her, what she's really saying is that she doesn't see you as her equal. And once that dynamic takes hold, you'll spend the entire relationship chasing her approval instead of being valued for who you are. A woman who truly respects you won't need to remind you you're lucky. She'll make you feel lucky naturally, just as you'll make her feel the same. But if she keeps putting herself on a pedestal, take it for what it is. A sign that respect is gone. And without respect, love won't survive. The hard truth. Men don't want to hear. Here's a reality check that a lot of men don't like. A woman can love you and still leave you, but she will never leave a man she truly respects. Respect comes before love. And once respect is gone, no amount of effort, gifts, or sacrifices will bring it back. So when you hear these 5 phrases, you're too sensitive, you should be more like, I don't need you. If you loved me, you would. Or you're lucky to have me. Don't brush them off as harmless. Don't convince yourself she doesn't mean it. These aren't small cracks. They're red warning lights flashing right in front of you, and if you ignore them, you'll stay in a relationship that slowly chips away at your confidence, your masculinity, and your sense of worth until there's nothing left. If she says these things to you, let me be clear, you're not in love. What you're really in is a slow breakup that just hasn't been announced yet. It's like standing in a house where the foundation is quietly cracking. The walls might still be standing, but sooner or later, it's all coming down. And the longer you stay, the more it takes from you. Gentlemen, here's the empowering truth. The sooner you recognize the signs, the sooner you can walk away with your dignity, your confidence, and your peace of mind intact. Every day you ignore these warning signals, you're teaching yourself to accept less than you deserve. And the cost of that is heavy, because once your self-worth is ground down, it's hard to rebuild. Don't let it get that far. Don't wait until you're so deep in the relationship that you no longer recognize the man in the mirror. Respect yourself enough to set boundaries, to say no to disrespect, and to walk away from anyone who doesn't value you. Because here's the truth, the right woman won't make you beg for respect. She won't mock you, manipulate you, or constantly compare you to someone else. She won't remind you that you're lucky to have her. as if she's doing you a favor by being in your life. No, the right woman will stand beside you, not above you. She'll respect you, value you, and see you as her equal. She'll encourage your growth, celebrate your strengths, and appreciate the effort you put into the relationship. That's what love is supposed to look like. Not manipulation, not power games, not emotional blackmail. So here's my challenge to you. Stop ignoring the red flags. Stop explaining away the things you know in your gut are wrong. You only get one life, one shot at building relationships that uplift you instead of destroy you. Don't waste it trying to convince someone to respect you when the truth is clear. They already don't. The only kind of love worth keeping is the kind built on respect. Anything less will drain you, weaken you, and eventually break you. So choose wisely, walk boldly, and remember, real strength isn't in holding on. Real strength is in letting go of what doesn't serve you, and that's the only kind of love worth staying for. Gentlemen, if today's video opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button so more men can see this message. Drop a comment below and share your experiences, because your story might just be the one that helps another man walk away from disrespect. And if you want more insights into female psychology, relationships, and the hidden dynamics that most men overlook, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll never miss the next video. Remember, knowledge is power, but only if you act on it.